How's it going, Giants fans? My name is Alex and my co-host here, Anthony Rivardo, and the Giants just came off of one of the weirdest wins I think I've ever seen. I don't know how they won that game. I don't know how the football gods gifted us that, but the Giants coaching staff, this is a night and day difference, my friends. This is the first time since 2004 that a Giants head coach in their first season has gone 3-1 in their inaugural season. So Pat Shurmur, Joe Judge failed to do so. Now you look at Brian Dable, 3-1. They have coached this team to wins. Straight up, this team does not have all the talent in the world. In fact, this team probably has some of the least amount of talent in the league, but they somehow are winning games. And it's simply because they're strategizing and game planning better than their opposition, right? We could have beaten Dallas last week if the passing game was a little bit better and, the receiving core was a little bit healthier and the offensive line played a little bit better, but ultimately couldn't pull that one off. We bounced back against the Bears. There's a lot to break down from this game. I don't necessarily know where to start because it was just kind of a shit show of a lot of different things happening, a lot of injuries we'll update you guys on, and just so many things that I don't even know how to really describe because the Giants were just pulling miracles out of thin air. I mean, their receivers dropped like 5 passes today. Tanner Hudson had that drop on a third down pass from Daniel Jones. Darius Slayton had that big drop downfield. I just don't even know exactly where. David Sills had a drop. I remember he had one on the crosser from Tyrod Taylor on the second play once he came in after DJ's ankle injury. So, a lot of drops. Who came to the rescue? Saquon Barkley. We're going to discuss Saquon, his unbelievable performance, his unbelievable start to the 2022 season. He is carrying this offense right now on his shoulders, straight up. He made it so those play action bootlegs were possible for Daniel Jones. The entire defense keying in on Saquon allowed DJ to pull off those unbelievable bootlegs and just score on those 2 touchdown runs. So a lot to break down, Anthony. How are you feeling after the win?
I mean, I'm feeling thrilled. It was an amazing win for the New York Giants. Was it pretty? No, it was rather ugly, like the other wins that they've earned this season have been. It's been ugly so far this year, but somehow, some way, the Giants are finding a way to win. And I think you really mentioned it and hit on it the best. The coaching staff is willing the Giants to victory week in and week out, is what it feels like to me. Yes, there is a severe lack of talent on this roster. There is also a severe number of injuries on this roster. However, the Giants are finding ways to win. How are they doing that? Well, in my opinion, it's been really creative play calling, really clutch play calling, and really great game planning by the New York Giants coaching staff. And it's super, super refreshing to see that, right? The Giants getting into these ugly games in the past, that's meant instant loss. The Giants can't lose or can't win close games. They would always lose them, especially during the Joe Judge reign. You mentioned Pat Shurmur, of course, Ben McAdoo, his second season with the team. There's been a lot of bad head coaches coaching the New York Giants in recent years, but so far, Brian Dable is finding ways to win, improving the record to 3-1. I think he's one of 4 coaches in New York Giants history that had started their career with a 3-1 record. So, of course, that's something to just be thrilled about right there. But Brian Dable's just done an excellent job, man. Wink Martindale's done an excellent job. They held the Chicago Bears to 12 total points today. No red zone touchdowns. Every time the Bears got into the red zone, they were just completely shut down. The Giants defense is playing that bend, don't break mentality to a T, and it's been a lot of fun to watch. Again, it's been pretty ugly sometimes on defense, especially on offense a lot of times. A lot of that has to do with injuries, but the Giants finding ways to win, it's keeping me happy. It's keeping the team afloat. And I think it means a lot for the current state of the Giants and also for the future, knowing that this is likely a rebuild year. But now that we're 3-1, we could second guess that. And we could start to pick up some momentum here and say, hey, maybe the Giants can compete right now, get into these ugly games. Let's see if they can do it against some of these better teams that they have on the schedule down the road, get into these ugly games, hopefully come away with some wins. And we'll see, man. It's a really exciting time to be a New York Giants fan.
Yeah, I mean, look, I guess they are realistically winning while they're rebuilding, which is the best case scenario. Now, we do have kind of a weird week coming up because you got the Green Bay Packers Saturday morning, and the Giants have to fly across the pond to get there. So they're going to be dealing with a lot of injuries. Of course, the notable ones from today's game, Evan Neal walks away with a neck injury. He missed kind of the fourth quarter there. Daniel Jones with the left ankle injury. Obviously, he was limping, and Dable wouldn't let him back in the game. Despite, the Tyrod Taylor injury, he has seemingly a concussion. Julian Love went to the tent with a concussion as well. Kenny Galladay with a knee injury, bending down to sit on the bench. It was unbelievable. One of the most devastating injuries I've seen in a long time. And then, of course, you have who else got injured? I mean, I'm losing track of everyone. Like any other. Mark Lewinsky, he had an ankle injury. He was ruled out. One of the practice squad guys they pulled up to play defensive tackle to replace Leonard Williams, he got carted off the field. Anybody else? There was another safety, I believe, that got. Oh, Aaron Robinson.
Aaron
He had the
Robinson,
knee
yeah.
injury, got bent over backward. Like I never seen a human have that. Like that was disgusting. But this team was slaughtered today, guys. The fact that they won this game is something to be appreciative of, but we got absolutely slaughtered in the injury department. I don't know. I don't think a lot of these were turf related. I think these were just curse related. I don't understand how this continues to happen, but the Giants lost a lot of players today, and I don't know how many of them are going to be able to suit up. And then, of course, Azeez Ojulari also had that calf injury. He limped off the field late in the game as well. So definitely not ideal. We lost a lot of starting talent today, my friends. And next week, I don't even know who's playing quarterback. If Daniel Jones has an ankle injury, Tyrod Taylor has a concussion, we'll see. And maybe Saquon Barkley, maybe Kadarius Toney gets healthy and he plays quarterback for us. We'll see what happens. But this is definitely an interesting situation. I do want to discuss some of the more positive things from this game, notably Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley was the entire offense aside from those Daniel Jones bootleg runs. He finished the game with, I think, 31 carries for 146 yards. Also brought in a couple passes for 16 yards on the season. Saquon is just blowing it out of the water. This is a guy who obviously has been battling injury the last couple of years. He has 463 rushing yards over 4 weeks to start this season. He had 593 rushing yards all of last year. He could legitimately tie that next week in 5 games, which is ridiculous. The Giants finished this game with 262 rushing yards and only 82 passing yards. Now, this is not a sustainable strategy. The Giants cannot win games against better teams without a passing game. And ultimately, this is the problem they're going to face against the Packers. You got Aaron Rodgers. You have a pretty good defense of the Packers. They're not going to let the Giants do this. They're not going to let them fool them. The Bears could not adjust. They finally adjusted in the second half, but they were not spying on Daniel Jones. They were letting him run those bootlegs. He had 2 rushing touchdowns today. That's ridiculous. Like the Bears, better teams do not do that. Better teams will adjust immediately and take those away. So ultimately, I'm happy with the win. This was one because the Giants coaching staff was far better than the Bears coaching staff. Their coaching staff has really kept them in games lately. That's the reality of the situation. They don't have all the talent in the world. They've managed to get a lot out of Saquon Barkley, who is our best player. Arguably, I would say right now, it's hands down he's our best player. Kayvon Thibodeau looked really fast today. I really liked what I saw from him. Tay Crowder probably had the best game I've seen from him in a long time. I think he had 10 tackles. He had a sack as well. He was really sharp. Jalen Smith looked pretty good as well. Adoree Jackson had a pretty solid game. Fabian Moreau, he came in obviously when Aaron Robinson was out. He had a couple big pass breakups. McKinney locked it down in the deeper part of the field. I was very content with a lot of the defensive performances. We need Leonard Williams back. Hopefully he'll be able to return next week along with Wan'Dale Robinson, who was sprinting before this game a couple days ago during practice. So that's definitely a good sign. But, what are your thoughts on Saquon, man? Carrying this offense, going in there playing Wildcat. The defense knows what's coming. They were actually moving the chains. Big shout out to him, man. He took a lot of responsibility, took a lot of the workload today, and he ran with it. And he made something out of nothing, even when the defense knew what it was coming.
I mean, it was a super impressive performance by Saquon Barkley. It was really exciting to see him just answer the call, right? Every single play, they needed him to do something. He did it. He carried the ball a career high 31 times today. Over 30 handoffs in the modern NFL is bizarre. You don't see that very often. Nowadays, it's a pass-happy league. It's a pass-heavy league. Quarterbacks are throwing the ball sometimes 65 times a game, like we saw with Josh Allen last week. Saquon Barkley getting 31 carries on today's game is almost unheard of. It's something that you just wouldn't expect to see. It's a complete oddity for a running back to receive 30 carries, but he did that, and he had to do that because the New York Giants quarterbacks were both injured, so they had to rely on Saquon Barkley, and he got the job done. He was a true superstar throughout the game. He was breaking tackles. He ripped off a few big runs of 10-plus yards, and he was always there to answer the call when the Giants needed him to. His season total is up to 463 rushing yards on the year already through 4 games. That is a New York Giants record. That is an insane number to reach through 4 games. It's going to be a really fun year watching Saquon Barkley if he's able to stay healthy and keep this pace, because right now the Giants offense is relying on Barkley. My fantasy team is relying on Barkley, and I'm sure many of yours are as well. And the New York Giants, like I said, they're relying on Barkley, and he's getting the job done. for sure. He didn't reach the end zone today. He didn't have to. He got the job done in every other facet of the game. And of course, Daniel Jones was able to rush in for 2 touchdowns. The Giants played a run-heavy game like I predicted they would in the pregame live stream, and like I've been saying all week leading up to the game. The Giants were going to have to win this game by controlling the clock, not turning the ball over, winning the turnover battle, and rushing the football. Of course, Tyrod Taylor did turn the ball over on that play where he thought it was a free play, but it wasn't a free play. That was a little bit of an interesting moment right there. But the main way that the New York Giants won this game was by controlling the clock, maintaining possession, and running the ball down the Chicago Bears' throats. And that is what brought them the win. That's what will continue to bring them the win if they continue to play with no quarterback. They have to have a solid rushing attack. And again, I just think this speaks volumes to this coaching staff to face that level of adversity where you have no starting and no backup quarterback, and your emergency quarterback, Kadarius Toney, is also injured, because if I remember correctly, he is listed as the emergency quarterback for the New York Giants. He's also not in the lineup. The Giants literally did not have anyone capable of throwing the football. So they go ahead with Saquon Barkley in the Wildcat, very creative way to solve that solution. They go ahead, solve the solution. They gain some first downs, clutch down the stretch, and they win the ball game. That was thanks to the coaching staff. Yes, we can give all the credit in the world to Saquon Barkley, and we should, because he went out there as a true leader. He put the team on his back, and he ran them to the win. But also, that was the coaching staff coming up with a creative solution to a very serious problem. That's something that we haven't seen the Giants coaches do in the most recent years, but Brian Daboll, Mike Kafka have combined to create a really special thing here for the New York Giants, and it's really been exciting to watch. So moving forward, I know it's going to be a really tough game next Sunday morning against the Green Bay Packers, and especially considering all the injuries, but in Brian Daboll I trust, and Saquon Barkley I trust, so hopefully we can go out there, string together another solid performance out of Saquon, and maybe sneak away with a victory.
Yeah, man. Look, we also got a lot of value out of the special teams today. Aside from that Richie James fumble, Jamie Gillen is a stud. Like that punt he had at the end there, that booming punt from the own end zone, that the Bears fumbled, was just the turning moment. That was the momentum shift the Giants needed to really get back on the horse and end this game and just milk the clock as much as possible. Those are the big moments. You remember back in with Eli Manning against the San Francisco 49ers and, that punt, that muffed punt, those special teams moments sometimes are the difference between winning and losing football games. And the Giants special teams came to play today when it mattered the most. In the moment that they had to show up, they did. So, definitely a shout out to them and Gillen for absolutely launching that kick just 65 yards downfield. So that was really, really great. But, we go from here. It's tough, man. You got to kind of monitor the injuries, see what's going on there. Hopefully none of them are super serious. Aaron Robinson definitely got bent over a little bit, so hopefully he's okay. It just, definitely, I honestly don't even know how you diagnose what happened to him of being slinkied maybe. Honestly don't know. Daniel Jones, he was walking, limping a little bit. They taped up his ankles. Sometimes those things, ankle injuries, when you have adrenaline going, you can play on it, but the swelling definitely can take hold and kind of hurt you. Tyrod Taylor ran to the locker room after, so hopefully if it's a concussion, it's nothing too serious and he can bounce back. Obviously, his safety is the most important thing. But this is a team we don't got a lot of depth to begin with. We can't really afford to be losing key players right now. We'll see what happens. Obviously, Nick Gates being activated off the PUP list may end up being a lifesaver because the interior line with Mark Lewinsky having the ankle injury, we don't know how significant that is. He was questionable, so he could have maybe return, but they decided to just not risk it. I don't know, man. The Giants coaching staff really just stepped up and put together what was a beautiful display of play calling and adjustments and efficiency. They won this game. The coaching staff won this game because they looked at what the Giants had, they maximized their strengths, and they attacked the Bears' weaknesses extremely efficiently. So we're not going to see this every week because some other teams don't have the weaknesses the Bears do. And Justin Fields isn't that good of a quarterback, so we were able to take advantage of him, and he ran a little bit, but it was fine. I thought Dexter Lawrence looked fantastic. Again, he's having a bounce back, a resurgent season after they franchise tagged him. So I was really, really happy to see him kind of bouncing back. They picked up his 5th-year option, I believe, right? Yeah. Okay. So they picked up his 5th-year option. So he's definitely in line to get a contract extension with the way he's playing if he can stay healthy and continue this achievement. But guys, I'd love to hear your perspectives below in the YouTube comments. This is a crazy game. I don't even know how to really react to it because it was just all over the place. But hey, A win's a win. I'll take it where we can get it. I don't know how we got to 3-1, but I'm trying to stay here. I want to stay in the 3-1 realm. I don't want to go back to losing football games. So hopefully we can be more competitive moving forward, and continue to mount some wins and mount some success and progress here with the entire squad. So I love your perspectives. Let us know what your thoughts about this game, the injuries, the entire thing. It was just a crazy sequence of events. As always, make sure to like, subscribe. Let's go Giants. We'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Giants episode.